People who lost their jobs by going off on a customer. What is your story? Disneyland. I worked in the ticket booths. If you're an annual pass holder and you're on a monthly contract, Disney takes automatic payments from your credit card. If your card expires or otherwise has to be changed, and you don't call to put a new card on file, the auto payments stop and your pass freezes. No big deal. Disney doesn't hit you with fees or penalties. You simply call or come to the booth, and we handle it right then and there. Zippity-doo-dah, and in you go. One day, I get a middle-aged couple whose passes froze. The man was upset and ready to talk about it. A common question from guests is, don't you send out late notices? No, Disney doesn't, because they're not practical. And again, there are no penalties anyway. Just come see us and we'll straighten you out. The man says to me in a disgusted tone, you don't send notices when a pass freezes? How does that work? I said, well, you receive your credit card statement, you see that a recurring charge is not present on it, and you can expect the service related to the recurring charge to be interrupted, and that it must be related to your card having been replaced recently. The wife smiled, the man's face reddened, and he leaned in and barked, get your supervisor. I want to talk to somebody smart. To my shame, I said, of course. Would you like someone smart enough to stay aware of their credit card use, or merely smart enough to read contracts they sign? My booth lead happened to come over as soon as she heard supervisor, so she was standing behind me when I said the emotional thing. It isn't how I wanted to go out. I was 5 days away from leaving for a new job, but I looked at it as a vicariously cathartic mic drop goodbye to my fellow cast members. For them, it was a thrill. Back around 1969, I saw a service advisor at a VW dealership get fired for telling an irate customer, if you can't take a joke, you shouldn't have bought a Volkswagen. I was lucky I didn't lose my job for this one. I worked at a furniture store as a sales associate. One day a husband and wife come in wanting to furnish their son's apartment that's going to college. They find all of the furniture pieces they want and I go to check stock on multiple items. Everything is in except the tabletop on the dining room set they wanted. I go back and tell the couple. The husband throws an absolute hissy fit saying that he can't believe that we don't keep our product stocked. Keep in mind that we are a huge furniture store. I calmly explained to him that we can't possibly keep all of our product in stock at all times, and since the dining room table he wanted was a very popular set, due to the fact it was $199.99, it tended to go out of stock rather quickly. So, we would have to wait for that vendor to send us the tabletop, which was about 2 weeks. I even tried to show them another tabletop that was in stock that was very similar to the one they picked out, and he would not have it. He started telling me that I was incompetent and how dare I insult him. Insult him how? I have no idea. He starts increasing his volume and now he is full out screaming at me about 10 inches away from my face. My manager walks from around the corner and looks at me questioningly, like the "do you got this" face. I nodded at him that I had it, but he continued to stand within earshot. I then looked back to the customer and said in a nonchalant tone, I'm not going to help you. In fact, no one here is going to help you. Now please get out of my store. The customer looks at me bewildered and in full set rage and demands to speak with my manager. Since my manager is standing right around the corner, he had heard everything. He goes over to the customer and says, well, you heard the lady. I miss working there. Oh man, I've been dying to tell this story for a while now. Although it doesn't pertain to someone getting fired, it does have some justice. A friend and I go to a store. Let's make it up and call it Walmart. We're in line at the registers when this middle-aged lady in front of us is trying to use some expired coupons. The cashier is telling her the coupons can't be used. Mind you, these coupons would save her $4. A fact that I realized after this entire ordeal. Lady wasn't having it and just starts insulting and yelling the cashier as if it's their fault the coupons expired. And not smuggish insults like no wonder you work here, but some deep cutting stuff like you should kill yourself if you can't override and accept them. Like WTF. This bee was out for blood for $4 fricking dollars. That's when my friend, who's a former Marine, steps in and reams back into her. The exchange went something like, whoa, how dare you disrespect this young cashier like that? The heck is wrong with you to say things like that to her? You're a messed up person. B. Mind your business and don't raise your voice at me. Him. Oh, so now you know that raising your voice is disrespectful. Where was that consideration when you did it to her? Her. Stop talking to me or I'll get my husband here to handle you. Him. What husband? You don't even have a wedding ring on. That's probably the problem there. You're so bitter and lonely you take it out on other people. You're messed up. They exchange more comments and it ended with her storming out of the store without her items and on the verge of tears. I guess we attracted too much attention because we were asked to leave by the manager but not before the cashier quietly thanked us. Reading through these comments, I realize that not very many Redditors have not worked in a fast food restaurant in any ghetto areas. Arguments were an everyday thing where I worked, as the manager at KFC. I know, I'm a big shot. I encouraged my employees to stick up for themselves. More than once a day, I'd have people coming in attempting to rip us off, or get more food than what they paid for, then insulting and even attacking me at times. The only reason I quit is because I had cooks and cashiers who were making more than me. But yeah, the job was pretty much a free-for-all when it came to shitty customers. I used to cut hair. I was cutting a lady's hair when the child of lady waiting started running around the shop. I told the child several times to go sit with her mother and asked her mother to please keep her child seated next to her. Well, in the middle of cutting around my client's ear, the child ran into my work area, ran into me and almost caused me to cut my client. I looked at the child and firmly said, "You need to go sit down with your mother now." Well, her mom didn't like that and came running back to me and yelled, "Don't tell my child what to do. I'm her parent." I responded with "Then act like it." She glared at me, grabbed her child and stormed out. Everyone in the shop was relieved the child had left. A few days later the owner came and tried to fire me for it, but luckily there were enough other stylists and clients that came to my defense about the danger of the situation and I only got a write-up. Many a year ago I worked at a home improvement store called Menards. I was a cart pusher, which was nice as I was outside all the time. Anyway, we gather about 25-30 shopping carts together and push them up to the entrance where they are stored inside. Now to get them there we do have to cross the main drive or the parking lot in front of the store. We always stop and let customers drive by. So as I push the carts up I stop because I see a guy in a pretty nice SUV. He is actually stopped in front of the entrance. Maybe he dropped someone off, I do not know. So I'm waiting to see if he drives off and he then looks at me and waves me across. Looks like he wanted to finish a call he had gotten or something. So I wave back and start pushing the carts across. I am on the other side when some clips me across the shoulder blades and it stung somewhat and pushed me forward. And at the same time I heard glass shatter. I turn around and the guy in the SUV clipped me with his side view mirror. It had swung closed and shattered the window and the door. And I'm just standing there wide-eyed. 2 seconds later the guy gets out of his car swearing up a storm at me and how I'm a low-life piece of crap and how I'm going to pay for a new window and that I'm not going to get anywhere in life because I broke his window. Now I'm the type of person that if I was the reason I'll take the blame and fix the problem. But this guy hit me. I blew up on him for about 5 minutes before a manager finally had the guts to come over and pull me away. I didn't have to pay for a new window as it was on video, but I lost my job because we are not supposed to yell and cuss at the customer. That's bulls. The minute someone hits you with their car they are no longer the customer, they are that butthole who hit me with their car. I used to work in the restaurant industry as a chef. We had a closed kitchen at this particular spot, so customers couldn't see what was being done in the kitchen. It was nice because we could listen to music and joke around without having to worry. Anyways, one day I was alone on the line and a server came to me and said a customer wanted to give me his compliments. No problem. I put on my nicer jacket and went out to say hi. The customer thanks me, then tells me to come in closely because he had a secret. I was like, okay, sure. So I'll lean in a little. He motions me closer. I move in a little more. This guy then goes, "I'll meet you in the bathroom in 5 minutes," and grabs my balls. I freaking lost it and shoved the dude. Got fired immediately. I used to work at pizza place in a small town when I was a teenager. One night I took a phone order from some idiot woman. It went like this. Me. "Thank you for calling pizza place. May I take your order?" IW. "Yes, I'd like a large pizza, half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives." Me. "Okay, did you want the toppings combined or separated?" IW. No, I want half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives. Me. Okay, so you want 1/3 pepperoni, 1/3 sausage, and 1/3 black olives? IW. No, I want half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives. Me. I understand the toppings that you want, but I'm not understanding how you want us to put the toppings on your pizza. Do you want them separated by thirds, combined together, or do you mean put half the amount that we usually put on? IW. What's so hard to understand? I want half pepperoni, half sausage, and half black olives. Me. Lady, there's only 2 halves to a pizza. IW. I want to speak to your manager. I got fired on the spot. It was easier for the manager to just hire another person than it was to lose a customer in a small town. Oh, and the lady wanted the toppings divided into thirds. She told the manager the same thing and he just went with her math. The B also got it for free. That seems like a really stupid thing to be fired for over a misunderstanding. It's not like you called her a stupid B. Was a stockroom assistant at a well-known fashion chain in the UK and US. Didn't go off on a customer, but I bloody well wish I did now. Happened to be behind tills changing hangers boxes when a customer explodes at the trainee cashier demanding to know where her order was. She's screaming her head off at how it's unacceptable I paid extra and how she made a specific detail to collect her package. She had ordered a jacket in another branch and had paid for next day delivery to the store I worked in. Customers aren't supposed to come collect their orders until they get an email saying their order is ready to collect. The poor cashier started last week and is basically cowering for dear life. I take over and ask to see her email, which she explains she doesn't need because she paid extra, so her package must be here. After 10 minutes of me trying to explain why her package isn't ready to collect and her trying to challenge Krakatoa, she storms off shouting that she'll be having words with the guy who owns our company. I hand back to the cashier and carry on with my day. The next day I'm prepping our delivery and I get called for a meeting with the store manager. I'm told I'm being let go for gross misconduct, specifically being unhelpful and challenging to customers. Turns out the customer was a journalist for the Daily Mail and she called our head of company, who she did indeed know personally, and got me fired specifically. Journalist and Daily Mail. Hilarious stuff. Worked at Gtop as a game advisor. Some guy came in and had a figurative arseload of games, over 100, to trade, all with games and cases mismatched. It took about 45 minutes to process his ticket. When I told him the total, it was low, because Gtop and also they were all old, scratched games. This man then proceeded to try and negotiate with me, to which I kept telling him I can't change the price, which only made him angrier and louder. Eventually he yelled, "Listen you stupid N. I need at least $300 for all of this crap and you're going to give it to me. First of all, I don't even have the ability to change the price at all. Second of all, my co-worker proceeded to put all of his games in a bag, walk outside and toss them into the parking lot, and told the guy to take his racist cousin fricking ass somewhere else and to frick off. Store manager came out of the back room and fired him dead on the spot. The guy stormed out and the second he left, my manager said, "Jesus, what was his freaking problem? Alright, get back to work." My co-worker didn't get fired, it was just theatrics for the racist C. I felt like an idiot for just standing there, but it was taking everything I had to not hop the counter and hit the guy. Love the theatrics trick. A good manager knows how to use it. This is Pizza Cat. He looks for people like you to befriend and give them the gift of unlimited pizza. This can only be granted if you comment Pizza PLZ. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.